So let's talk about the more fun part. Where are we going to be going? Okay, I don't know. So this is interesting. This is important because I have a 15-year-old who actually I think probably agrees with this. It's 5-6 hours a day on his cell phone. Okay, 7.7% of millennials believe social media is acceptable at a funeral.
They haven't spent much time with you.
No, they haven't. They haven't. Maybe that's part of it. So I'm trying to, just out of the back of my mind, I'm trying to, there's two other statistics. One of them is at the dinner table, it's like 50%. In church, it's like 35%. It's crazy. And men are much worse than women at this. Like, and when I talk to, this is not true in my household, by the way. This is reverse in my household. I'm the one that's like angry, like Luddite, get off your phone. That's me. But we talk to clients, and clients complain about this. And it's never, my wife never will get off the phone. It's always, my husband will never get off the phone. It happens all the time. With both of them in the room, it's very fun. So how long can you be on the phone? Not at all. I agree. But they're saying 1.8 minutes, which is like, how do you, I'm watching, you know. Okay. So we talked about bias earlier. And so these are some of the headlines you're gonna see that are gonna be completely full of shit. Like no one knows, but this is what they're gonna say. And pick your party, they're gonna say, you know, Republican administrations are better for the market, or Democrats are better for the market, or they're gonna say, if the current administration is blah, 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 the market's gonna go up, and they're gonna say, if the AFC wins, then the market's gonna go up or down. This is all just silliness. It's a way to keep our eyes glued on things and keep us paying attention, and it's something to say, because they have to say something, because they're on 24/7. Just ignore this, please. We have your names. So if I get calls from you about any of this stuff, I'm just gonna say, you know, call me next year. Okay. So we started off with, we have to be ready for anything. And I think this year that's more true than it has been in the past. Like, we could see trade war escalate. Like, there's already talk that, okay, we're done with China, now we gotta do the EU, which is probable. We gotta go through that with the EU. So we're gonna see trade issues with the EU, almost guaranteed. Or maybe the trade war with China gets a better resolution. Maybe that's the thing that markets are waiting for, and markets go up because of that. Maybe company profits grow because their comparisons are so light. You know, maybe they grow because last year was a decline, so it's easy to beat that. Because we can expect kind of a 6% average long-term growth of corporate earnings. Maybe they decline. Maybe last year was a signal that things are in decline. I don't see that really, but it could be something we have to be aware of. We have to be ready for either way. I think I'm in the economic growth camp. I think there isn't anything that looks bubbly out there. You know, corporate debt is possible. That's not the kind of thing that unwinds everything. But the things that are traditional bubbles, there's not overinvestment. There's not, you know, too many people buying cars. There's not too many houses being built. There's not these things that typically will lead a decline in the future. We don't see those things.
You don't have war there.
No, we don't have war there. Part of that is intentional. War has a very short-term effect. We still buy socks and underwear. We still buy toothpaste. We still buy food. From an economics and market perspective, it's a short-lived issue. Unless it's World War III, which that's a low probability event. So low probability that's not on anyone's radar. It's on some people's radar. It's it's a low probability event. So bull market, bear market, I don't think we'll see either a big bull or a big bear next year. I think next year will be, we'll call it a rebuilding year, right? We'll call it a year where we've already had the earnings. We probably have the stock growth to repair 2018 and to look forward into 2019. We sort of built some of the returns expected in 2020. We sort of built them into 2019. Okay, so this is an interesting trend. Have you heard this clicks to bricks? So Amazon has retail stores now, right? So they drove all the mom and pop businesses out of business, and now they have retail stores that you can go in and buy merchandise, you can return merchandise. And the reason they do that is because what they've found is people buy things on Amazon, they look for the cheapest deal and they buy the cheap thing. But if you go into a store, you're going to buy more expensive things. So now they're going to, we need stores, and we're going to put expensive things there so people will buy the expensive things when they go in. Another trend, this is April of 2019. You guys know this? April of this last year, renewables became a larger source of electricity than coal. Just naturally, right? And that will continue. Does anyone here do any gig work? Used to?
Kind of.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So I didn't know that 35% of the workforce does gig work. And remember, this is not full-time gig work necessarily. This is someone's side hustle, right? 60% freelance by choice, which means 40% freelance because they have to. 50% say it's a long-term career. So 50% of these, so 25 million, so that's 18% are full-time gig workers. And actually, that makes it, has anyone been on Upwork? Upwork, you can get anything done for an hour, anything. And you have, so I write a lot, you guys know this, but I'm a horrible writer. So when I don't have David to edit for me, I pay someone on Upwork to edit for me. And I did a little test run, and I hired a $105 an hour editor, and I hired a $35 an hour editor, and I hired a $55 an hour editor. There was no difference. Really. All decent edits, right? Different, but...
Yeah,
so, I'm now... Yes.
Question, how
You're already paid.
Gig workers factored into the unemployment rate?
Say it again?
How are the gig workers factored into the employment rate?
So the unemployment is a survey. So you say whether you're working or not working, or whether you're seeking a job or not seeking a
So
job.
whether you're working 1 day a week or 5 days a week, you're considered employed.
There's different levels of employment, and part of it is, are you working, and part of it is, are you looking for work? So you can actually be working and looking for work. This is 5% of the US economy right now. So do you remember when internet sales were 5% of the retail? Now they're over 50%, well over 50%. I don't know if that happens here, but it's something to keep an eye on. It's a huge and growing part of the economy. Global trend, changes in wealth and productivity. So this is 35 years into the future, 2050. What do we expect these economies to look like? Notice how we go underneath India. India goes from 3 to 2, we go from 2 to 3, and Japan and Germany disappear altogether and are replaced by other countries. Notice which countries and the United States are on the list of the most wealthy and productive countries.
Emerging markets.
EM, yeah, emerging markets. Where do you think right now today, as a percentage of the average portfolio, the least money is? Emerging markets. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting. We have a sizable position, but it's just a market weight. This is, I think, the best summary. The question heading into 2020 is, what may tip the scale? Will ongoing trade uncertainty and weakened manufacturing hurt job growth, finally dragging down the services and consumer side of the economy? Or will interest rate cuts and resolution of the trade war spark a fresh round of global economic growth? We have to throw a perma bear in here. We're battling tooth and nail the next recession. The Fed has done, and the central banks, everything they can to avert the next recession. But it will come, and that's why you should be playing defense right now, just like you should have been doing in 2006. Now, he's a wicked smart guy, right? How long has he been saying this?
Since 2007.
Yeah, right, for a long time. Now, this I like as well. So the wise old bond market is supposed to be the great sage. When you're in the industry, they always say that the bond market tells you where the stock market's going. The bond market's the smart people, the smart money. Stock market's the dumb money. That's what they say. So we had, this is a sort of an internal conversation. A flat yield curve. Uh-oh, the economy's faltering. An inverted yield curve. Wall Street's convinced economic contraction is a quarter or two away. In a world where stocks are bonds, thanks to dividend yield, which is increasing, and bonds are stocks, thanks to principal gains. That's what we did last year. We had huge gains in the principal value of bonds. The bond market may be totally wrong about a recession next year or even the year after. So the bond market's telling us with an inverted yield curve that we'll probably have a recession on the horizon. What they're saying is now stocks are bonds and bonds are stocks. And you've heard me talk about this here, that the dividend yield, the earnings yield on equity prices, and actually the dividend yield was higher than the 10-year treasury. So if the dividends are paying you more than a treasury is paying you, and you get the upside of equities, why would you invest in treasuries? And yet everyone's invested in treasuries. So Goldman Sachs, while we see relatively low odds of recession, if we get it, there's 3 reasons to think it's going to be worse. It's not going to be pleasant. Monetary policy response can't be as good. Federal debt levels won't allow fiscal support, and then the corporate leverage is a problem. So we have to remain aware of our biases. I mean, we talked about this earlier. Don't just read the stuff that you agree with. Find stuff that you know that makes you feel icky. You're like, find an economist from George Mason University. Read stuff from George Mason University, and then don't get the information bias. Don't get sucked in by stuff that's not important stuff. Losses are going to happen. We may see some volatility this year. We may see a 20% decline this year. We may see that. Who knows? Okay. So have anyone seen this before? I've put this in here before. So in my household, we have we play a little game when it's your birthday. So the eve of your birthday, so my son's not interested anymore. My daughter loves this. So she's 12, and when she turned 12 was September. On September 27th, the eve of her birthday, we say that she was 11. She had a very rusty 11 inside. And then when she wakes up on the morning of her birthday, she has a very shiny, bright, new, wonderful 12. And it's just a little game, it's a little thing we do in the house, and so I have to include this here because that's what it is. We have a brand new year here. Hopefully we can let some of the depression from last year go, even though we're sort of in the same circumstances that everyone's depressed about. But still, we have lots to be thankful for, lots of good things happening. And all the stuff we talked about here is market and economy. Remember, the thing that matters is the plan that you have. What is it you're supposed to do? What's the appropriate allocation? That's what we're going to stick with, okay? And if you have any questions about your plan and your things, please come talk to us. And I think that's everything. Thank you very much for your time.